Welcome everyone. We've all seen the Series X versus PlayStation 5 comparison videos popping up everywhere where they're pretty much breaking down all the knowledge we have of the system so far and their assumptions as to how they're going to perform and which one is going to be better. One of, if not the most important interpretations and assumptions that we can make about these two systems and how they're going to perform based off of what we've been given is not being taken into account properly. I have no dog in this race, man. I'm looking at this completely unbiased. I have had Xbox products and PlayStation products, so what we're going to be doing is looking at the Series X and the PlayStation 5 specifically, how they differ, because they are extremely similar. They're both on the same chips. Those chips are on the same softwares, and then they are going to have different operating systems, of course. The processors are made by AMD. They are Ryzen 3rd Gen, running on the Zen 2 architecture. They both have a total of 8 cores. The Series X is pushing 3.8 gigahertz max, but with multi-threading enabling, that's going to be 3.6 constant. The PS5 is running at 3.5 gigahertz max with a variable boost clock speed. Both graphics cards, again, are made by AMD, and these are the RDNA 2.0s. But the Series X and the PlayStation 5 both have custom layouts for their graphics engines on board. The Series X is running 52 CUs, aka compute units, on board, all at 1.825 megahertz. This is pushing a total of 12 teraflops. PS5 is running 32 CUs at a higher clock speed of 2.23 gigahertz, running at a total of 10.28 teraflops. It is right here in this moment, this one statistic of teraflops, that the majority of the Series X versus PlayStation 5 comparisons that you see are going to say that the Series X is going to be more powerful. Both consoles are equipped with 16 gigabytes of GDDR6 memory. That is a lot of memory. To put this in perspective, my RTX 2080 Ti in the other room has 11 gigabytes of GDDR6, and the question comes to mind, why does it need so much high-speed memory? The reason is that this memory is not just allocated to the graphics engine, it's allocated to the CPU as well. Now, Microsoft did state that they're running different speeds on their memory. They have 10 gigabytes allocated for the graphics and 6 gigabytes allocated for the operating systems and everything else. Sony simply stated that they're running all 16 gigs they have at 448 gigabits per second. It's also not surprising that when you average 560 and 336, you get 448. So I would imagine we're not going to see much of a difference in performance in this one aspect. Now for the I/O, aka transfer speeds. The Series X is equipped with a 1 terabyte solid state drive capable of transferring 2.4 gigabits per second of raw data and 4.8 gigabits per second of compressed data. It's also going to have a proprietary SSD expansion memory pack that can be purchased, but I'm not sure as to the final prices on that. They stated they have a total of 3 channels running for the external memory. The PS5 will have 825 gigabytes of memory available on board, and it will be running at 5.5 gigabits per second raw and up to 9 gigabits per second of compressed data. The PS5's memory is operating off of PCIe Express Gen 4 SSDs. These drives are pretty expensive and very fast. The memory suite is further equipped with 12 channels on a custom flash controller. I gotta let you guys know that from a cost perspective, that this was a very intentional move. And it's at this point that I really struggle to see why other people who've covered this topic didn't look a little bit deeper and seriously consider how this one design feature could greatly impact the overall performance of the system. Now, in order to quickly help everyone understand the system that the Series X and PlayStation 5 is built on, I'm gonna read you guys 2 very important quotes. I promise we're not going full nerd today. Okay, maybe a little. Accessing even a small memory array costs way more than performing an operation, and a lot of what we think are memory costs today are actually communication costs. This statement hints towards future processing not so much being limited by the strength of the compute units, but more so being limited by the speed that they are able to access the information. This is William Daly, chief scientist for NVIDIA. And for those of you who don't know, NVIDIA is the #1 graphics card manufacturer on the planet. The second quote, which is extremely important: what graphics needs is a really high bandwidth memory system. In the past, graphics had its own memory system, and for the CPU and GPU to talk to each other, you'd use PCIe Express. With HSA, we made memory architecture where the CPU and GPU share the memory. So graphics sees memory, CPU sees memory, and we pass pointers between them. We have a common address space. This is Jim Keller back in 2014 when he was designing the original original Zen architecture, and the Series X and the PlayStation 5 is running on Zen 2 architecture by AMD. So when we look at this layout for the domain-specific architecture, we see the CDNA compute optimization, the RDNA the gaming optimization, and then the general-purpose GPU architecture. But if you pay close attention, all of these are touching each other and overlapping because they are all in a way in constant contact and connection with each other. This is why I believe Mark Cerny understood full and well what he was trying to communicate when he showed off the custom I/O unit running on board with coprocessors, aka accelerators for specialized workloads, specifically gaming workloads. This concept is currently being used in all the top-level Turing graphics cards and will continue to evolve and become more efficient. But what Sony was actually trying to communicate with us was that they've completely removed the bottleneck for the memory to the data centers where all the processing is going to be happening. And even if you upgrade the PS5's memory, you have to get Gen 4 solid-state drives. They're not cheap. They're expensive upgrades and they are direct plugins into PCIe Express slots. And furthermore, because of the nature of the card and the architecture that it's on, any high-speed memory like Gen 4 solid-state drives can actually be utilized as random access memory for the system to use and abuse as it sees fit to increase performance. So a lot of us have seen the demos where they have the Series X running and then pause the game, switch apps entirely into another game, get fully loaded up and be playing in like 4 seconds flat. I am telling you right now that there is a really good chance that the PlayStation is going to be faster at performing operations like that in the main operating system and main menu, and also loading times in games, because it's quite literally engineered for it. I just don't have any other way to put it. The entire memory suite and the amount of channels that they have and the speeds that they're going to be achieving has just been buffed for a reason, and this is what you're going to see from it. Now, it's also important because the Series X and the PS5 are stepping up from 60 Hz to 120 Hz, aka we're going from 60 FPS to 120 frames per second. And this is great because when the systems like actually come out, I can't wait to just put them side by side and see which one pushes more frames on the same games. It's gonna be awesome. Again, I do have a hunch because the PlayStation is just engineered to complement what it's running on, that it is gonna push more frames per second. On another note, and I know this is kind of off topic, but this level of performance at the price range that these are, you know, estimated to be coming out at, this is gonna kill the performance you get from like a 600, 800, even some $1,000 PCs. It just seems somewhat pointless when you can save so much money and get almost the same performance. They're both going to be running 1080p, they're both going to be able to do native 4K, and then they're also going to have 8K upscaling, which, I mean, I'm not going to recommend the 8K upscaling. And they're going to be blistering fast. I imagine both of them are going to perform really well. We don't know which one's going to be faster, but you got my guess. And there is a big part of me that still feels like these two systems are really close in design and specs, and that they're just going to perform similarly. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. We have a couple giveaways running on our Twitch as well as our Instagram. Socials will be linked in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like the vid, subscribe to the channel, share the content. It's greatly appreciated. Notification squad, I freaking love you guys. I look forward to seeing you all in the next one. Peace. Let's try it one more time, eh? Nah, dude.